Hello and welcome to today's video. This is a really fun, really exciting one. Today we're going to be talking about my most anticipated releases of 2024. And I've really narrowed this down. I'm really talking about, like, if I don't think there's a chance that I'm going to pick the book up within like a month or two of it being released, it's not making it on this list. Like, if I am not 100% confident I will be reading this, it's not going on the list. Well, I'll link up above. I did a video, did I read my anticipated releases of 2023? And like, answer is no. And a lot of them I'm just like, yeah, I'm not that surprised. So these are really like the creme de la creme of my personal reading taste of the books that I am so excited for, so anticipating coming out in 2024 and just like can't wait for. I will quickly say, if the lighting looks weird at all, if the video looks weird at all, I've never filmed without the lights on before, but I couldn't see the like lights in the tree if I had the big light on. I'm hoping this might look cool. If it doesn't, well, I won't be filming another video like this anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but hopefully it looks okay. So yeah, let's talk about the 2024 anticipated releases. On my list are 16 books that I am like so excited about, like I genuinely can't wait for them to come out, and 13 of them have release date, so an exact day, month that they're coming out, and then there are 3 of them that are just saying like coming in 2024. So I don't know exactly when in the year they'll come out, whether that, you know, they will get like a nice release early on or whether we'll be waiting till the later half of the year. But yeah, I'm really excited. I did do 2 types of stats that I just thought were interesting, and I feel like were definitely things that I was keeping in mind when making this list as well. So first of all, the authors. Of the authors that I'm talking about today, I've already read from 14 of them. There's only 2 authors that are new to me that I've never read anything from before, and I do think that's important because authors I've already read from before, I feel like I have a much higher chance of picking up, a much higher chance of liking. And like, it is easier to get like hyped and excited for a book when you already know like kind of what to expect. So yeah, just thought that was interesting. It was something I was like consciously aware of. I didn't want a load of new authors to me on this list because that's how like I lose interest. Maybe something new is released about the book, maybe I'm not as excited, whereas authors I've already read from, chances are no matter what's released about the book before it's released, I'm going to still pick it up. And then the other is like the type of book, whether it's a series or a standalone. So of the list of 16 books, 1 of them is a standalone, 2 of them are starts of series, which bit nerve-wracking, but 13 of them are continuations in series I've already started. And I feel like, yeah, like that feels really good to me because I'm already so excited about these series coming out. Like, I'm already so excited, like these are all series that I'm reading and like actively reading, and I'm just so excited for and so excited for like more in those worlds. So yeah, any that have pictures I will be putting the imaging over here. I'll put the book cover in. Not all of them have book covers yet. I think all but 2 of them, no, all but 3 of them have names. So there are 3 that don't yet have the title announced. We do have 2 with no name at all, and 1 with like an acronym for the title but not the official title released. And yeah, I think that's all I really need to talk about now. I think it's time to get into them. I'm going to be talking about my most anticipated releases of 2024 in release order. Oh, and also, like, I'm not going to give you like detailed synopses. I will have all the Goodreads pages for these books linked down below. I'll just tell you what I know about them, whether that just be the trope, the type of book, what we're talking about, who the characters are, like anything I know I will tell you, but I'm not going to be reading out synopses. Goodreads pages linked down below if you want full synopses of the books. So yeah, let's talk about them. My first book that I was really anticipating for 2024 comes out on the 9th of January, and that book is Mislaid in Parts Half Known. This is the 9th book in the Wayward Children series by Seanan McGuire, and this is a series that I absolutely love. Essentially, if you've never heard of it, imagine, you know, all of these stories that we're brought up with, Alice in Wonderland, Chronicles of Narnia, basically anything with portal fantasy. We see these characters go through this portal and then normally ends when they come back. This is like actually what it's like for like these children, these kids, to come back to the real world from a world that was more than likely like what they viewed as like their perfect world, and we see them come back and navigate that. We have Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, which is a, you know, like essentially a school for these children who have come from these worlds to try to, I feel like broadly speaking, let's say adjust to normal life again. But yeah, it's a really great time. Some of the books take place in like the present, and then some of the books take place when these characters that we meet along the way are in these other worlds. And yeah, absolutely great, can't wait for it. And I think book 9 has dinosaurs, which I'm very excited about. The second book that I'm excited about in 2024 is coming out on the 16th of January, and that is Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherworlds. This is the second book in the Emily Wilde series, and it is written by Heather Fawcett. So yeah, really excited. I read book 1 this year and I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars in the end. It wasn't the perfect book for me, but most of what I didn't really enjoy so much was the start of the book, was the introductions, and then there was just one twist in the plot that just wasn't great for me. And it wasn't a bad plot or a bad plot point, I just didn't particularly enjoy how we saw that plot point. But yeah, it was a very small minor thing, but it just meant I was taking out the world a bit. I was yeah, the pacing just slowed down a lot towards a certain point in the book, and yeah, just wasn't quite 5 stars, but so excited about the world. I'm really excited to continue on with the series. I have looked and I do know that quite a bit of time has passed, I believe, between the end of book 1 and the start of book 2. So I'm intrigued what's going to have happened in between, and I'm also very intrigued to find out what adventure we're going on this time. And then the final book to come out in January that I am personally excited for comes out on the 30th of January, and that is House of Flame and Shadow by Sarah J Maas, which is the 3rd book in the Crescent City series. I know that the end of book 2 in the Crescent City series was quite controversial. Some people loved it, some people hated it. Personally, I was just so intrigued by it. I was like, oh, okay, how is this gonna work? And yeah, I just can't wait to see how this is gonna work, basically. I feel like I'm so excited and so anticipating this book because I don't know how the book is going to go. I don't know even how the book is going to be narrative wise. I really don't know. I really don't know. Obviously I can't give spoilers, but I'm very excited and I feel like we're in for an interesting time. I also would say, if you haven't started Crescent City yet or haven't started any of the Sarah J Maas world, I would recommend reading Sarah J Maas books in publication order. So start with Throne of Glass, then ACOTAR, then Crescent City. You're just going to get the most out of them. There are Easter eggs, there are things for you to see, and yeah, I feel like that's the way that you'll get the most out of them, is by actually reading them in publication order. So yeah, just that little tidbit. Then on the 20th of February we have A Tempest of Tea. This is book 1 in the Blood and Tea series by Hafsa Faisal. I really hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm using the pronunciation guide from the author's website. I really hope I've done that right. And yeah, I'm really excited about this. It sounds like it's going to be cozy. It's based around tea. I don't know too much about it, but I essentially, honestly, I applied for an ARC of this. On NetGalley, the ARCs of this going. I can't remember much about what the description said now, but I remember reading the description and being like, oh my god, I want this book. I got denied the ARC, didn't get accepted. Not surprised, my NetGalley score is terrible. We are working on it. But yeah, I've now pre-ordered the book because I was just well, I can't miss out on it. I need to read it. So yeah, I've now pre-ordered it, and I'm very excited. Then on the 29th of February, Storm of Secrets and Sorrow, which is book 2 of the Legacy series by Melissa K. Roerich. Again, hopefully I'm pronouncing the last name right. I did actually listen to the audiobook of some of these authors' books, and there's a slight difference in pronunciation of the last name, so hopefully I'm saying it right. But yeah, this is book 2 of the Legacy series. Honestly, if you haven't read from this author, if you haven't read this book, book 1, don't start here. Start with Lady of Darkness. I'm going to give you a full spoiler to one of my first videos of January, and that is that Lady of Darkness, the complete series, is my favourite fantasy series of 2023. My favourite series that I've read during all of 2023. We're still technically, at the time of recording this, have a week and a half left of the year, but I can't see anything beating it. It's amazing. I'm on my 2nd read of it. I only started reading it for the first time a few months ago. It's amazing, and essentially you can read this author's books in any order, but the Legacy series and the Lady of Darkness series are set in the same world. And personally, I've read book 1 of the Legacy series, and I would personally say if you read the Legacy book 1 first. There are just going to be certain plot points and certain elements in Lady of Darkness that are like really surprising, really like, you know, we need to investigate, we need to find out what this thing means, what this element of the world is about, and we do that discovery in Lady of Darkness, and it is kind of like a bit of a reveal, and those things are just normal in the world that we're in the Legacy series, so you just won't get quite that same like suspense. I don't think if you read it the other way around. I would definitely recommend Lady of Darkness first. But yeah, book 2 in that series, the Legacy series, comes out in February and I can't wait. In the Legacy series we essentially have Fae. Okay, so it's not called slavery in the description of book 1, it's just called a life of servitude, and it's the Fae who are in a life of servitude. It's the Legacy who are like above the Fae. Oh my god, this is so complicated to explain. Just trust me, it's a great fantasy world, and it's like, I would definitely say it's fantasy with like a sprinkle of romance. I would say there's less romance in this series than there was a Lady of Darkness series, but I've only read book 1 of that one, whereas I've read all like 5.5 books of Lady of Darkness, so like, yeah, it ebbs and flows, but yeah, really enjoyed, really can't wait for. Then we have quite a jump. There is nothing at all in March that I'm interested in, and then on the 19th of April we have the second book in the Mortal Fate series by J. Bree. There is no name for this yet. So far we just have the, like an acronym, which is TTOBAH, so don't know what that's going to be. The Throne of Battle and Heartbreak. Sure, that's my guess. There you go. Actually, I'm quite impressed with that. That sounds realistic. Like, yeah, it sounds a bit silly, but like all of these like fantasy books, like they've all got titles like that, and that sounds kind of realistic. But yeah, I guess another spoiler alert for my January video, for my favourites video. The first book in the Mortal Fate series, A Crown of Oaths and Curses, is my favourite book of 2023. I don't see anything taking over it in the next week and a half. It's my favourite book. I can't wait for book 2. My excitement is crazy. We essentially, in this series, or at least in book 1, we have these 2 fated mates. Fated mates are a real thing in this world. However, these 2 fated mates that we are following, it's dual perspective, we follow both of them. They are enemies, like actual enemies. Like if they weren't fated mates, they would literally be killing each other. Like one of them is a witch, one of them is fae. They hate each other. There is a massive war that is kind of ongoing between the witches and the fae. No. I don't know how to explain this, except for like, it is actually cutthroat. It's actually ruthless. Like the things that these characters have to go through in this book, especially our female main character. It's interesting. There's prophecies. It's like epic fantasy as well. Like there's so much going on. Like it is an epic. There's so much plot. There's so much storyline. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. I really want to reread it. I only read it a few months ago. I need the second book. Yeah, if you haven't read it, I would 100% recommend. Then also with no name on the 23rd of April is Zodiac Academy number 9. Even though I've only read up to number 6, the reason I'm so excited for this is book number 9 is the final book of the series. After book 9 it is finished, it is done, and I'm just going to binge read this. I think Zodiac Academy, look, it's not perfect. I know some people hate it, I know some people love it. For me, it is that perfect binge worthy, like binge readable book. You could just read it and literally like eat it up. There's so much going on, there's so many like character points, so many character plot. And yeah, and this is written by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. I really like the Zodiac Academy books. There's a lot of growth, there's a lot of change throughout the books. If you're going back to book 1, we have 2 twin sisters who are coming to this magic school, and they are important, but they come to this magic school and there's already hierarchies, there's already like these cliques, there's already these things going on, and there is this group of boys who are the popular ones, and it starts out as a really weird bully romance. I am not gonna lie, like bully romance is definitely like, you know, a main categorizing point for this, and then there's also some interesting relationships along the way. It's a really interesting time. Do you know what, I don't even know if I can like sit here and full force be like, oh yeah, it's good, it's amazing. But I personally loved it. I ate it up, and I will continue to eat it up as long as there are still books for me to read in the universe. Okay, I've somehow done this in the wrong order, but this comes out the 2nd of April. Should have been before the last two. But yeah, 2nd of April we have Dragon Rider by Taran Mafaru, and this is book 1 in the Soulbound saga. This is another author that I've never read from before, and I'm really excited to start. This is another one that I'm just so intrigued by. I read the description on NetGalley and it intrigued me so much that I'm just like, yeah, I need that, I need to read that, and I just can't wait. It's about dragon riders. It seems like it's going to be a high epic fantasy. I'm a little bit scared by it, but I think it'll be a really good, really fun time. So yeah, hopefully it is. And on the 7th of May we have Lore Olympus Volume 6, which is obviously the 6th book in the Lore Olympus series. This is by Rachel Smythe. I have been reading the Lore Olympus books. I've actually only read the first three physically, and then the other 2 I've caught up with on webtoons. I do still need to buy them myself and I have them physically and read them physically, but we're up to book 6, which I feel like I accidentally started on webtoon without realising that I'd got into like volume 6 content, and I really just want to continue. This might be one that I end up reading before it comes out, because you can like read the same content on webtoons, just not in like a bound book format. I really like Lore Olympus. It's Hades and Persephone in a very artistic, very amazing looking graphic novel version. There is a lot of traumas, a lot of stuff going on, and it is just this retelling that is really nice. Might be a strong word to read. There's a lot of heavy stuff in there, but I have a great time reading it. Then on the 3rd of June we have Blood Feast, which is the 8th book in the Blood Grace series by Viola Roth. I started this series when I went on holiday this year, and I haven't picked it back up since I went on holiday, but I got through 3 books on holiday. And these are thick chunky books. It is a very slow burn, very magical, very kind of like ethereal feeling read. It is about our main 2 characters who have very different roles in their separate courts, and these courts are not really, they're not vibing, they're not agreeing on things. Our one character is a human and is basically a disregarded daughter of the king, and our other character is the newest member of the court of like his kingdom. He's like an apprentice basically, and he is a Vesperine, which is essentially a vampire, and it's so interesting and it's so slow burn, but the writing just sucks you in. Like honestly, like you start reading this book and suddenly like 5 hours have passed and you're like, what happened? What just happened? And yeah, I really enjoy it. I really want to read more, really want to see where we're going, where I've personally left off this series. So many questions to be answered. I am a few books behind. I am 5 books behind. Maybe I'll catch up before this book comes out. Maybe this book coming out will be the thing to push me to keep reading, but yeah, we'll wait and see, but I'm really excited for it. Then our final one without a name is the 3rd Amari and the Night Brothers book, which is the 3rd book in the Supernatural Investigation series by B.B. Alston, and this comes out on the 25th of June. This is a really lovely middle grade series that I really enjoyed. The first book in this series, Amari and the Night Brothers, 5 stars, amazing, like best middle grade I've ever read. Competes with a lot of like standard fantasy that I've read, like not even counting the age category. Second book in the series, still really enjoyed. I think I gave it 4 or 4.5. Second best middle grade book I've ever read, coming behind book 1 in the series. I didn't enjoy it quite as much, but I still had a really good time, and I still really loved the plot and the characters. So yeah, can't wait to continue on. I think it's a really lovely series that honestly, like no matter what your age you are, you can enjoy. It's just great. It's magic, summer camp, learning about powers, and there's magicians, and there's a were-dragon roommate, and so many magical amazing things. Then on the 4th of July we have Reckless. This is the 2nd book in the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. I'm excited about this. I'm intrigued about this. I want it to come out. I want to read it. I thought book 1 was okay. Like, I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 3.5 or a 4 star. Like, it was good enough. It was fine. But it was a debut book. It was the author's first book. So I'm so intrigued to see what else is coming out from this author. Obviously I've started off with a series, so we're going to get this series first. I want to continue reading, see if the things that felt a little bit repetitive, a little bit still for me in book 1 are like sorted out in book 2. and see if there is like growth and if I will continue to enjoy the writing. And the story in terms of the characters was interesting enough that I want to continue reading and know what's going on. The story in terms of the plot was a bit simple and a bit obvious for me personally, but I read a hell of a lot of fantasy, a hell of a lot of dystopian, especially back when I was the age that this book is actually aimed at. This is a young adult book. When I was a young adult, like, was literally when like The Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner, all these books were coming out. I read them as they came out, so like I'm not that surprised that I can see these things come in. Like, they were tropes and things that were like pretty standard, at least back in the day. So yeah, but I'm still intrigued. I still enjoyed it. It just wasn't like amazing how I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but I'm excited enough that like I pre-ordered book 2, so like I'm excited enough that like when it comes out I will be reading it. I just feel like compared to a lot of the other books on this list, it's kind of like just that tiny little tier below. Like, not quite, but still very excited, very intrigued to see where it goes. And then we have our standalone book. This is A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This comes out on the 10th of September and is written by Sangu Mandana. And this is the same author that wrote The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I read this year. Really enjoyed it. It was a really good book. It was like contemporary witches. It was witches how I personally have never read them before. I'm someone who reads a lot of fantasy. Like, you know, there's normally a lot more going on. There's a lot more like difference in witches to like your average human, but this was a different way for me. It was cozy, it was sweet. I have found that there are books that I quite enjoy a cozy time with. Like, cozy is good for me. I just need to find the right books, and the fact that the previous books that I've read by this author I really enjoyed, I'm hoping I'll really enjoy this one too. I did think for a long time, and I would not be surprised that if at some point it is announced that these are like companion books, like they're a companion series or something, but right now online there is absolutely nothing that links the two books together. Obviously, like, they look and read from the synopsis as if they're going to be like in the same world, but I don't know for sure, and whether they are or aren't, I'm really excited about it. And then we have the 3 books that don't have a date yet. They all just say 2024. 2 of them, the author I've seen post on Instagram and actually say like coming 2024. The other one, it's on Goodreads as 2024. A couple of years ago it was announced that the final 2 books would be 2023 and then 2024. Haven't seen anything else, so I assume it is still 2024. So let's talk about that one first. That one is Heartstopper Volume 6. This is the final book in the Heartstopper series. It's all going to be coming to an end. I feel like, you know, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a happy time. We've seen a lot from these characters. We've seen a lot of growth. Personally, I have read the novella Nick and Charlie, so I do know like the direction this is all heading in. Like, Nick and Charlie is set after the Heartstopper series, and I really can't wait to see what's to come from the characters, and I'm really curious as to when in 2024 this one will come out. And then the final 2 are actually from the same author and in the same series. So G.L. Preston or Gem Preston, honestly different author name on different sites. On my personal copy of the first book of this series it says G.L. Preston, so that's what I'm going to go with. On Goodreads it says Gem Preston, so just to clear that up, that's why maybe it's a different name to what you're currently aware of. But yeah, there is a short story in the Stag and Hollow Chronicles coming out called Whispers in the Wind. This looks like it's just going to be a short story, like giving us more information on the world. Really curious about it. Really want to know like what this is going to be about, who we're going to be following, because the short story collections have been very different to the main novels. So yeah, really intrigued by that one. And then the other one is the finale in the Stag and Hollow Chronicles. I didn't know until this was announced that it was going to be like this trilogy, that the third one was the final one, and that is called Truth in the Hollow. I'm so happy that we've got this book coming out. I'm so happy we know it's coming out in 2024. I really need to know what's going to happen in this. Book 2 ended on such a cliffhanger that I was just like, excuse me. And like, book 1 was amazing, like so good. Like, after book 1 I was just like, yes, I need book 2, and when book 2 came out I read it straight away. Personally, it wasn't quite as good as book 1, but I feel like that cliffhanger at the end made up for it. And honestly, it's been 3, maybe even 4 months since I read it, and I still sometimes just find myself thinking about that cliffhanger and what it means. So yeah, I really can't wait for the third book to come out. I don't know which one is coming out first and which one is coming out second. They both just have the dates of coming 2024 next to them, so I don't know if we're going to get the short story first or the finale. I assume it'll be short story then finale, but who knows. And yeah, I'm very excited for it. So those were the 16 books that I'm super excited for coming out in 2024. 2024. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. I really hope that some of these books sound good and exciting to you, and you know, hopefully you've maybe found a new recommendation here. And also, a lot of these are parts of the series. If any of them sound good to you, it's probably already books out in the series for you to read. So yeah, let me know down below what your most anticipated release for 2024 is. If I had to pick one, oh my gosh, if I had to pick one, I think I'd probably have to go for The Mortal Fates 2. I think I'd have to. That's the one without a name, which has got TTOBAH. Can't remember what I said I thought it stood for, but yeah. I feel like that's just one that book one sucked me in so much. Like, if that whole series was out, I would have just kept reading. Book one was so good that I feel like that one, the second book in that series, has to be the one that I'm most anticipating. But yeah. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you like to see more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye!